Дорогие друзья, предлагаю вам занять свои места для того, чтобы начать наше торжественное заседание. Уважаемые дамы и господа, уважаемые участники.
Esteemed participants of the 11th International Congress, Sportsmen and Health, dear guests, we're happy to welcome you in the great city of St. Petersburg, particularly since St. Petersburg this year is the cultural capital of the Commonwealth countries. We would like to thank you for coming here and for bringing with you to our city this beautiful weather. And I hope very much that what brings joy, what brings good weather, brings joy to our cooperation at the International Congress. So welcome. Welcome to the International Congress. And allow me to invite the participants of the first session and the panel. Shestakov Vasily, Chair of the Executive Committee of the International Public Organization supporting science and sport, the President of the International Sambo Federation. Sergei Petrov, Chair of the International Congress, Sports, Human Being and Health, Rector of the National State University of Physical Health, Sports and Health, named after Helstov. Lena Chernova, Acting Rector of the St. Petersburg State University. Igor Stepanov, Deputy Director General of the Russian Olympic Committee. Seravana Sergei Germanovich, Rector of the Salivk University of Sports, President of the Taekwondo Federation of Russia, President of the Russian Student Sports Union. David Hiteran from Armenia, Rector of the State Institute of Physical Culture and Sports of Armenia. Ali Jafar Samaka from Iraq, Secretary General of the Sports Committee of the Olympic Committee of Iraq, member of the Association of Sports Law, Lausanne, Switzerland, Vice President of the Iraqi Federation of Basketball, Director of the Sports Department of the Iraq Sports Channel. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, quite recently an outstanding event occurred. It was an anniversary associated with the president of the Sambo International Association, Vasily Shestakov. We would like to congratulate him with the anniversary, and we would like to do it warmly and heartfully. Vasily Shestakov is one of those functionaries at the international level who were able to retain the Sambo traditions. And today Sambo is not under the humiliating sanctions. The Championship of Europe took place in Israel, and the team of Russia was able to get 16 gold medals. And today, joining the congratulations addressed at Vasily Shestakov, we would like to wish him further success in promoting sports on the globe, promoting Russian Soviet sport, so typical of Russia and the Soviet days, Sambo.
Василий Борисович, одну секунду.
No. And for this success of yours to continue
Память этот
for many years to come, here, accept this Russian souvenir from us. Товарищ,
уважаемые дамы.
да, это понятно.
Для открытия
Now, allow me to give the floor to Vasily Shostakov, the chairman of the Executive Committee of the International Organizations, Sports, Men and Health, and the president of the International Sambo Federation. Good afternoon, dear friends. I would like to greet all the participants of the International Congress. This Congress is being held in St. Petersburg once in 2 years, and this has been happening since the year 2003, almost for 20 years by now. And allow me to remember the, Ivan Polisaev, who was the initiator of the Congress, the initiator of this noble project. This Congress is a very good platform for the exchange of opinions between specialists, researchers from all over the world in the field of sports and health. The Congress is well respected in the world. From the very first session in the year 2003, it has been bringing together leading researchers and experts in the field of sports, sports medicine, legal aspects in the field of sports. And the Congress has been appreciated very highly by the international community. For the first time, they begin to discuss health, human beings, and sports. And academic research results are extensively used through the Congress activities. And we're also looking at the international sports experience, and this is quite important for us. The main goal of the organization entitled Sports, Men and Health is to promote social status of sports as one of the components of the national idea. Bringing up and developing well-developed and physically healthy persons. It's also focused on the propaganda, on the promotion of high ethics in sports and culture of conduct and behavior. The leaders of different Russian and foreign organizations take part in the work of the Congress. They're representatives of different agencies, of different departments, representatives of national sports associations, representatives of national Olympic committees, of the ministries on sports, and the representatives of the governments of St. Petersburg, rectors of the universities, directors of the research institutes, leading researchers in this field are also taking part in the Congress. Teachers, well-known sportsmen, coaches take part in that Congress. And the range of topics is quite extensive, and it's orientated at some of the major aspects of the development of physical culture and sports. And the implementation of the programs, different programs focused on the development of health and spiritual health, among other aspects of health, is in the focus of the Congress. The Congress, organized on the principles of open discussion, presents a wonderful opportunity for the researchers to come up with their points of view. Sometimes these points of view are very different, and we can come across a very wide range of different opinions reflecting different research and scientific interests of the leading professionals, leading experts in the field of sports and health. With all of that, the sphere of physical culture and sports is an integrated aspect, bringing together different methodologies, different recommendations focused on the protection of health. And the main idea of the Congress today is the sports movement, international sports movement in the present-day world, the comprehensive approach to the sports challenges in this world. Unfortunately, the serious problem associated associated with the pandemic affected different spheres of the activities of human beings, and it was a very difficult problem for many of us. Political storms also make us rebuild the approaches to work, rethink them. So we come across different problems when organizing competitions, particularly when we take the list of participants. Today, the International Sambo Association is one of the few federations in the world which takes in all participants to the events, and this concerns athletes from Russia and from Belarus. And the new categories of participants, such as refugees, an athlete from Venezuela acting as such in Bishkek in Kyrgyzstan was able to get a gold medal this year. Now, trying to retain the Olympic status for Sambo, we're at the edge of the abyss tackling all these issues. Unfortunately, not everyone understands this. Not everyone is able to provide adequate assessment of the risk like that. Our sessions are going to be held online and offline with the use of the state-of-the-art information technologies. As for the participants and the scope of work, in spite of different organizational problems, is quite impressive. A few numbers, some statistics. We have representatives of 31 countries today. 13 plenary sessions are going to be presented to you, 217 sectional presentations following 10 lines, 2 panel sessions, the role of sports diplomacy and jurisprudence in the tackling of present-day problems, and anti-doping, focus on the health of sportsmen, of athletes. Organizers are the international organization promoting sports and health in St. Petersburg, Russia, the Lesgaft National Institute of Physical Health and Sports, and the International Sambo Federation, Lausanne, Switzerland, the Committee for External Relations of St. Petersburg State University. The Congress will be held with the support of the Ministry of Sports of the Russian Federation, the Olympic Committee of the Russian Federation, and the government of St. Petersburg. Indeed, we would like to express our gratitude to all the organization, to all the professionals and experts who are involved in this organizational work, and I'm quite sure the results of the work will contribute a lot into the development of sports in the present-day world. And each and every participant of the forum should be healthy and strong in this world. Thank you. Thank you for your attention. Well, thank you, Mr. Shestakov. Allow me to give the floor now to Sergei Petrov, Chairman of the Scientific Committee of the Congress Sportsmen and Health, Rector of the National State University of Physical Health, Sports and Health, named after Lesgaft. Dear guests, dear colleagues, and dear friends, I would like sincerely to welcome you in this friendly city full of light, of sunlight. We're really happy that we're able to meet here in this particular format. The Congress is the 11th Congress in the row, and the Lesgaft University, together with Senator Taimazov, were among the initiators of the first congresses, and the university still has a very strong standpoint in this sense, organizing and helping with the organization of the Congress. And I'm happy to see friends here, people who appreciate sports, who value human health and value human beings. And indeed, we have a strong belief that sports is the power that unites people, that should be a locomotive not only working for the health of people, but also for the development of every single individual and the development of nations. The trajectory of personal success is very closely connected with the trajectory of the development of states and the world. And sports should never be a weapon aimed at different countries, which for different countries are in conflict with each other. And that's what we can see today. Over these 20 years, we were able to prove that the Congress can be held under different conditions. And Mr. Shestakov said that 2 years ago, we had a Congress organized under very difficult conditions. For the first time, it was online. Territorially, technically, it was rather difficult to organize everything, but it was quite successful. And today, we're working under a different set of conditions, under new realities. Unfortunately, Russian and Belarusian sports are being pushed out of the global sports community, and the athletes who have been aiming at achieving the highest possible results in sports are unable to do that. And these athletes are actually being banned from different international competitions. So allow me to welcome you here in St. Petersburg on behalf of the Lesgovt University. We're always happy to see friends and guests. We're happy to be able to cooperate in sports, in science, in education, in culture. Thank you. Allow me to give the floor now to the welcoming address from Oleg Matitsyn, the Minister of Sports of the Russian Federation. On behalf of the Minister of Sports of the Russian Federation, and by own behalf, I would like to welcome the participants and the organizers and guests of the 11th International Congress, Sports, People and Health. These days, the participants of the event, experts in the field of health and sports, are working together to find and develop new ideas aimed at the harmonious development of people and the involvement into active life. International participation will make it possible to think about the practical proposals aimed at the protection of moral values in sports on the basis of the prevention of interference in sports. I'm quite sure that recommendations of the Congress will lead to the strengthening of cooperation at the international level. I wish all the participants constructive dialogue, successful work, and success in general. Thank you. Thank you. Now, welcoming words of Mr. Pozdnyakov will be presented by the Deputy Head of the Olympic Committee of the Russian Federation. The Deputy Director General of the Olympic Committee, Igor Stepanov, will read out the address. Dear colleagues, on behalf of the Olympic Committee of Russia, I would like to welcome the organizers, the participants and guests of the 11th International Congress, Sports, People and Health. Over the whole period of its existence, starting with the year 2003, the Congress has been able to prove that it is very much needed as an effective platform for the dialogue, for the exchange of practical experience between the representatives of the Olympic community, coaches and teachers, instructors, and representatives of sports medicine and representatives of travel sphere. Sports, people, health. All this has been very important for the development of different processes aimed at the humanitarian purposes. And the Olympic movement nowadays comes across a situation when certain states and certain blocs are taking open attempts to exert pressure in order to implement their own goals, economic and ideological goals, destroy something and everything, actually, that has been built over many years for the benefit of many. And it's possible to stand against these approaches only if we follow the major principles of the international sports charters and the Olympic Charter. And of course, it's also important to rely on just common sense. In this sense, the organization of such a significant event in St. Petersburg with this most topical agenda is a timely decision. And these platforms today are very important. These venues are very important for the discussion of the potential joint steps, exchange of experience, development of cooperation, and involvement into this constructive agenda of the wide range of representatives of Russian and international sports. We would like to wish all of you, all the organizers and participants of the Congress, successful work and great success in the implementation of projects. I am quite sure that the discussion of these topical issues at the sessions, at the round tables, will be held at the highest possible professional level. And professional discussions will bring about new ideas and new initiatives. The president of the Olympic Committee of Russia, Stanislav Pozniakov, 4 times gold medal winner of the Olympic Games.
The floor on behalf of the governor of St. Petersburg, Alexander Beglov, is given to Valery Frunze, deputy chair of the Committee on Physical Culture and Sports. Good afternoon, colleagues. It's so gratifying to see you all here in St. Petersburg, and wonderful day full of sunshine. I'll read out the welcoming address of the governor of St. Petersburg, Alexander Beglov. Esteemed friends, my welcome to the guests and participants of International Congress Sports Man Health. St. Petersburg is privileged to convene top-notch specialists in physical culture and sports because it's in line with the demand of the contemporary Russian northern capital is very important for the domestic sports, the motherland of many sports undertakings. That's where Russian football, volleyball, cycling, track and field, and other sports were born. On the banks of the Neva, first clubs were created and mass contests were held. And I'm very glad that the Physical Culture Committee and Leskov Physical Culture Institute selected St. Petersburg as its venue. I wish you lots of groundbreaking ideas and decisions. Thank you. The floor for a welcoming address on behalf of the governor of Leningrad region, Alexander Drozdenko, is given to chair of the Committee on Physical Culture and Sports of Leningrad region, Evgeny Ponomarov. Distinguished Mr. Chair, dear friends, I'm glad to welcome the participants, guests, and organizers of the 11th International Congress Sportsman Health. Recently, we have been exercising the importance of physical culture and sports. We have got our own experience towards this end, and it's great that we have this wonderful venue to discuss important issues. Sports is not just about very good physical fitness. It's about part and parcel of healthy lives. More people adhere to that, the stronger the health of our nation is altogether. So this topic is very important here. In the Leningrad region, a lot of efforts has been put together to provide the opportunity for everyone to stay fit. Year in, year out, new attraction points evolve for professional athletes and for amateur athletes, and will continue along those lines. I'm positive that our discussions will be very important and the decisions will be taken on board in practice for the ubiquitous development of mass sport. I wish you have very important discussions here. I wish you well, Governor of the Leningrad region, Alexander Drozdenko.
уважаемые дамы.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chair of the Legislative Assembly of St. Petersburg, Alexander Bilsky, sent over his video welcome to our International Congress. Dear friends, I'm glad to welcome here the opening of International Congress, Sports, Man, Health for 20 whole years. Lots of top-notch specialists from abroad and from Russia come over here. It's symbolic that this event is held in our city, where in 1911 the Russian Olympic Committee was set up on the banks of the Neva River. Since then, St. Petersburg has been highly acclaimed for the smithery of best athletes of the country. Very important it is to develop international sports movement as well. We should search for a way out of crisis our athletes encountered. In the recent Olympic Games, sportsmen were banned from performing under the flag of Russia. Experience and direct contacts with international federations you receive here at the forum will facilitate keeping to the main rule. Sports, it's outside politics. I wish all the participants very fruitful work, very interesting discussions, and new vivid victories which would shape up physical health and development of human beings. That is our future. Thank you very much, Alexander. The floor goes to the first deputy of the chair of the Committee on Health Care of St. Petersburg, Andrei Saryan. Mr. Chair, members of the podium, dear participants, dear guests and attendees of our International Congress, on behalf of the Committee on Healthcare and on my behalf, I'm here to welcome you in this high-token event which unites specialists and scientists from around the world. Since 2003, the convention has become the venue of sharing innovative ideas and knowledge geared towards the development of contemporary sports medicine, and involvement of people in physical culture. We try to create smooth conditions for the development of human potential via popularization and propaganda of mass sports and philosophy of longevity. Sport has been becoming more and more important factor to support health, social activity, and professional success. Contemporary world sets new challenges for us, among which we should also consider the issues evolving in sport. We're hopeful that at this Congress, everyone will find something interesting for your own work, and networking with colleagues and sharing knowledge and ideas will bring you to success and open cooperation. I wish you fruitful cooperation and new accomplishments, and I'm here to say that the committee will give a helping hand in every way it can to resolve the issues when they evolve for the international community. Together we'll make this world a much better place to live.
Видео приветствия.
Video welcome address of the representative of the Directorate of Medical Service of the Myanmar Chief Commander, Major General Coco Dane.
Good morning, distinguished guests, delegates, and online colleagues around the world. I'm Major General Gogolin, Director of Medical Services. I'm delighted to be here today at this prestigious Congress. I would like to give a brief introduction on behalf of President of the Myanmar Armed Forces Sport Committee. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a significant impact on the sport world, disrupting the schedules, cancelling the events, and imposing the new health and safety protocols. As the world has started to emerge from the pandemic, the sport movements will face a number of challenges and opportunities in adapting to a new normal situation. The main themes of this Congress is sport, peoples, and health, highlighting the important role that sport can play in promoting the health and well-being of individuals and community. Myanmar has a strong tradition of supporting the sport activities. The government has provided funding and resources for the sport development with a focus on promoting the health, fitness, and national pride. Under the guidance of Myanmar Armed Forces Sport Committee, a number of military sport teams are participating in national and international sport competitions. Myanmar Armed Forces team is also participating in international army game competition, which is organized by the Russian Federation Army every year. In view of Myanmar perspective, there are 12 objectives laid down by the State Administration Council, SAC, and one of the objectives is to strengthen the basic health care in order to achieve the emergence of health system that enhance the longevity and health of the entire nation. The Directorate of Medical Services within the Myanmar Armed Forces is providing the healthcare services to people in need across the country. Nowadays, Myanmar Armed Forces is safeguarding the constitutions according to the democratic principles. In a nutshell, Myanmar supports the sport activities, reflect the commitment to the promoting the health, fitness, and national pride, and to developing the country's sport infrastructure and talents. Through these efforts, Myanmar aims to contribute to the international sport movement in modern world and to promote greater understanding and cooperation among the nations all over the world. During this Congress, we can create the platform for meaningful and constructive dialogues where we can share our knowledge and experience and learn from each other. Thanks again for inviting us to participate, and we would like to congratulate the organizing committee of the International Scientific Congress and the Russia Federation for holding this auspicious Congress. I hope this Congress will be a productive and inspiring one. Thank you.
Спасибо генералу
Thank you very much, General Major Kokawina, for good words for our Congress. The floor goes to the acting rector of St. Petersburg State University, Елена Chernova. Mr. Chair, members of the podium, esteemed colleagues, attendees, I'm privileged to welcome all the participants of the 11th International Scientific Congress, Sports, Man, Health, in this venue, which we are accustomed to here in St. Petersburg, one of the most proper venues for such events. Dear colleagues, this is a unique venue, and it's 11th time on the row we convene here. And it's a high-token scientific event dedicated to this all-embracing subject matter for our country. A broad range of issues to be discussed for our convention tackles upon the issues of genetics and also law. Aside the organizational follow-up of the sports activities, contemporary sports, contemporary medicine, social and legal aspects of physical culture as well. The main topic of the Congress is related to international sports movement and new tasks and goals in international sports, which are formed under the unprecedented pressure on Russian athletes and Russian Federation. So athletes should endure this high pressure, should withstand it, continue going on sports and to display high achievements and participate in all the international sports events. It takes perseverance and courage, and of course the collaboration of academic community, cooperation between educational institutions and authorities is very important towards this end. It's so gratifying for me to say that St. Petersburg University is one of the constant co-founders of this important event. The university in the past decided to become one of the co-organizers. I'll tell you a few words about sports at the university. University, notwithstanding its classical status and 300 years background, has got long established for athletic traditions, starting from Nikolai Panin Kolomenko, the first champion of 1906 of skating, and he is the career of private associate professor in our university is telling us the story of Professor Laskov as well. 7 Olympic champions were students of our Adao University, 2 chess world champions, 17 Olympic champions. So the university has got glorious sports background and tradition which it supports, and making use of our key competences and advantages as the university. Due to interdisciplinarity, the university conducts academic research and training for different curricula related to sports. We at our university implement more than 5 major educational curricula, although we're not formal university, sports university, but 1,200 students are studying sports as well there. And we have got also in-service training for sports psychologists, managers of sport on our grounds, and for specialists in the sphere of organization of sports activities. We do scientific research in sports. We generalize on the analysis of the legal positions of sports arbitrage court in identifying the status of professional football players, the concept of equality of arms in the system, sports socialization of Russian intelligence, challenges, contradictions, problems, and so on. We do this research. It's very important to not to underestimate the importance of sports. Sports fosters personality traits in young generation, which are in high need in the 21st century and will be in high need years down the road. Dear colleagues, I'm here to wish you great success in discussing the issues and challenges which you can find at the subject matters of plenary sessions. I'm positive that you'll put together important recommendations, which then will be taken on board. And it's very important to support this event, and St. Petersburg University sets forward its own suggestions. It's related to the upcoming International Scientific Convention, Sportsman and Health. It should be dedicated to tricentennial of St. Petersburg University. University will be exactly 300 years next year. Thank you.
Василий Борисович.
And Mr. Chair underscores the importance of fruitful collaboration with St. Petersburg State University and is awarding rector of the university in Gorbachev the certificate of honor for great efforts put together to prepare our important convention. Thank you. The floor goes to the President of National Olympic Academy of Mongolia, Secretary General of Track and Field Federation of Mongolia, Chair of the Federation of School Sports of Mongolia, Zaritu Barataru, Mongolia.
Dear organizers of the International Congress, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, delegates. First of all, I would like to say that we're most grateful for the invitation to take part in this major international congress. And so we're happy to take part in the Congress. Now, we understand that the main purpose of the Congress is the exchange of experience and the methods of work, and the exchange of the results of research work carried out in different countries of the world. Today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, many researchers will present the results of their work, will share their experience with us. And in the Olympic movement in sports nowadays, scientific results are very much needed. In Mongolia, celebrates 100 years of the development of sports. And we do have certain successes in the Olympic movement, in the Olympic Games, different other international competitions in students' sports, in Sambo. And we, every year at the Olympic Academy in Mongolia, we organize competitions at the level of schools in Mongolia in order to promote sports and physical training and education, because every single country needs healthy, strong, and well-educated youngsters. And these events are very important for us, and we have very good results. So the International Olympic Committee supports us in that. 2 years ago, the International Olympic Committee added one word, together. So this is all very important. It's very important to be able to work together, to tackle different issues together. Humanity should work as a single organism in order to achieve these goals. Thank you. Allow me to give the floor to the Secretary General of the Sports Committee of the Iraq, member of the Association of Sports Law of Iraq, Vice President of the Iraqi Federation of Basketball, and Director of the Sports Department of the Iraqi Sports Channel, Ali Jafar Samaka.
Good morning, everybody. I know I am speaking English, but you don't have the translate in your phone. But anyway, I was with the lady this morning in our meeting. She translated in English. Where she is? She is here?
Yes.
Where she is?
Все хорошо, да.
Where she is? No, not here. Okay, can you come, please? ما لابسين. اوكي على كل انا سعيد جدا ان اكون I am very glad to be here in Russia, and this is the first time I am here in Russia, and I am so glad to the organization people who did this conference. And it is good for Mr. Dr. Hassan. I speak Arabic, and he will speak Russian, because my speaking is very important for everybody now. اسمح لي.
Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги.
الحقيقة أنا سعيد جدا أن أكون في روسيا، هذا البلد العظيم.
Я очень рад, что я в России.
I'm happy to be in Russia. Russia is a great country.
جميعا في الميدل إيست.
Это страна, которая
The country that we all
هذا البلد الذي كان
loved.
ويحب السلام.
Это страна
It's the country
справедливости и мира.
the country that always stands for the protection of peace and justice.
الإمارات العربية المتحدة في دبي كأستاذ في الجامعة الأمريكية.
Я работаю преподаватель
I
университета.
work at the American University in the Emirates,
Как раз
and
тематика права.
I teach this particular topic, law and sports.
А мы с коллегами будем
And we
семинары.
will take part in a session tomorrow, and we will discuss the international law issues tomorrow.
Чтобы остановиться именно на факт несправедливости.
We will speak about the injustice that is so typical of sports these days at the international level. And there are there's double standards in this field nowadays, which harm the development of sports. Once again, America occupied Iraq. But America cannot ban, and America was never banned to take part in the international competitions and in the Olympic Games. We believe that it's unfair, because sports is for everyone. It's a system of life. And if we ban one generation to take part in the Olympic movement, that means we lose them. We wish you peace and victory, and we hope very much that we meet at other venues and will continue our discussion. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your address. Ladies and gentlemen, now allow me to give the floor to Vasily Shostakov once again, who notices that the Lesgov University plays a very significant role in the organization of the Congress, and he is congratulating with the success of the Congress Sergei Petrov, the rector of the Lesgov University. Allow me to add a couple of words. We are handing in the award on behalf of the Legislative Assembly. At our request, the Legislative Assembly has prepared this diploma. And allow me to give the floor now to Veronika Loginova, Director General of the Russian Anti-Doping Agency, RUSADA. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I would like to welcome you at the opening of the International Congress Sports, People, Health. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for the chance to take part in the Congress and to have an event dedicated to that particular issue. The Russian agency, Anti-Doping Agency, together with the government of the Russian Olympic and Paralympic committees and other interested parties and organizations in the Russian Federation, is carrying out effective programs aimed and focused against doping. First of all, these programs are focused on the protection of health of the athletes, which is part of the International Anti-Doping Code, and it's also important to make sure that the sportsmen are able to take part in the competitions where there is no doping present at all. More and more people go into sports these days. It's necessary to remember that anti-doping rules cover not only professional athletes, but also athletes who are amateurs, and they also cover everyone who works in the field of sports and everyone who works against doping in different spheres. So I think it's absolutely correct to include into the program of the Congress an event dedicated to this particular theme. I would like to invite all the participants to take part in the panel discussion Anti-Doping Focus on the Health of Athletes on the 28th of April at 9 o'clock in the morning. And I would like to wish all of you interesting meetings, contacts, fruitful work, and clean and clear victories. Thank you. Allow me to give the floor now to the rector of the Russian University of Sports, president of the Russian Students' Sports Union, chairman of the Taekwondo Federation of Russia, Sergei Seyranov. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, No, there is such a great number of different representatives here. So many welcome speeches have already been presented. So I think that it's time for me to remember that I used to be a researcher, and our Congress is dedicated to research work and results of it. So I would like to try to pull together these three items, sports, people and health. But my time is limited because I'm planning to go to Kazan this afternoon to take part in one of the BRICS sessions, and I won't be able to be here much longer. Nonetheless, so when we say sports, people and health, now I always try to apply it to what I'm doing, and the second word, people, means for me that we are focusing on students. Students for me are most important. Today, the student sports is limited to 17 to 25 years of age. And according to statistics in 2022 in the Russian Federation, there were 1.5 million 17-year-olds and over 11 million young people in the age group 18 to 25. So altogether about 12 million, and about 4 million are university students, and about 3.4 million are students at different vocational organizations and different colleges. And so these young people, over 7 million people, they are the ones who study at different universities, and they go in for sports, and it's very important to make sure that they retain their health status. And different organizations, different ministries, like Ministry of Education, Sports and so on, indicate that 86% of students, the university students, by 2024, students of colleges also. So 86% of these students should go in for sports. Now, this is ambitious. This is definitely ambitious, and there is a large number of people present here who represent science in sports. Many of them work at different universities, so that means that there is a lot of them to work on. There are representatives of the public health system, and so we know that there is a lot to say about the health of students. The Ministry for Public Health today sets its own requirements, and these prevent the development of sports among students, because this particular deed defines that for 50 individuals, 50 students, there must be one sports doctor, and at the same time we have a very limited number of these medical doctors, just one for 40,000, and that also means that every single sports organization should have its medical professional working with them. So it's always difficult because there are certain lists that require deep medical examination, and that means we need to have many more specialists in sports medicine. How can we develop sports among students under these conditions? How can we at the same time ensure good health of the students? I think this is a very important topic for the discussion at the Congress, and I hope very much that we have the proper resolutions pertaining to that, because all the yes, it's very difficult indeed. We have about 20 different sports events and 51 sports annually, not to mention the regional competitions. So the problem is there, and it waits its resolution. And when we say sports, people and health, let's remember that for the ghetto norms, we do not need any special permissions coming from the medical staff. but the categories track and field and swimming, which by themselves require the presence of the medical certificates signed by the professionals in sports medicine. So understand that, well, our Congress is focused on research work, and we should understand that there is a lot of barriers. There are a lot of legal norms that actually stand in our way. And as a result, we are unable to pull together these three notions: sports, people, and health. But we are optimistic, and the more often we discuss the problems, the easier it is going to be for us to resolve them. Otherwise, if we keep quiet, then we won't have any sports, we won't have any people, and we won't have healthy people. So I would like to welcome once again Russian and foreign participants at the Congress, and I would like to wish you all fruitful work. Allow me to give the floor now to the executive rector, acting rector of the Smolensk University of Sports, Alexei Obvintsov. Dear colleagues, dear Vasily Borisovich and participants of the Congress, I would like to welcome all the participants here on behalf of the researchers of the Smolensk State University of Sports. I spoke today to quite a number of different educational institutions and the ones that work under the Ministry for Sports, and I would like to render the best wishes from the Association of the Rectors of the universities in the field of sports in the Russian Federation. The State University of Belarus has joined us this year, and Sergei Repkin wanted to be here with us at the Congress, but for different reasons he was unable to join us. So on behalf of his team from Belarus, he is sending you his best wishes. Now, we're coming to the end of the opening session. So I would like to wish all of you successful work, and I'm quite sure that all the topics declared and all the presentations that will be made by Russian representatives, by foreign researchers, will be most interesting. There will be interesting discussions, and that together we'll find new ways for joint work in the future. And I wish all of you good health, peace. Thank you. Allow me to give the floor to the rector of the State Institute of Physical Culture and Sports of Armenia, David Hitaran, Armenia.
Distinguished members of the podium, distinguished organizers and attendees, I am glad to join up with you as a guest. We're going to discuss extremely important topics within this Congress. They're very important for our respective communities, especially mindful of the recent events and the situation. First of all, it's about high achievement sports, such as Olympic Games, World Championships, and other major events in sports are not just very important for professional athletes, but by the same token, they trigger up the development of sports industry per se. Such events attract more spectators, sponsors, and investors, which encourages the development of the infrastructure, enhances the quality of exercise and training, and outreaching and attracting new talents to the sports sphere. Another item is very important. It's health waves of life, healthy nutrition. which prevents lots of different diseases such as diabetes mellitus, cardiovascular disease, obesity, and others. Sports, athletic way of life also enhances energy level, improves mood, reduces stress, which is a very important factor to support mental, psychological health. And number 3, sports and well-being. Sport may become one of the key factors expediting good life for all the society. Sport activity helps people to remain healthy and helps them to improve their mental and physical health. On top of that, sports facilitates development of social skills, enhancement of the level of self-discipline and responsibility, and also fosters positive values and strengthens spiritual life of people. Sport is not just about physical activity, but it's also the means of integration and strengthening of interpersonal relationships. It unites people of different age, different social and cultural groups, fosters teamwork, sports events, and mass sports exercise by the same token, fosters healthy way of life, ideas, and prevents different problems in society related to drug addiction, alcoholism, and other adverse events. Apart from that, sports achievements at the global level can become the source of great pride for the nation and its people, enhancing national self-identity and strengthening international relations. In conclusion, I'm here to say that sports is an indispensable part of our lives and is extremely important for our health and well-being. I am positive that this conference will expedite elaboration of different strategies and ideas for development of sports in our societies. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, David. The word goes to Director of National Anti-Doping Agency of Belarus, Denis Muzhikhin. First of all, allow me to extend my heartfelt thanks to the organizers for having been invited to participate in this high-token event and to convey to you the welcoming address on behalf of our Minister of Sports and Tourism, Sergei Kovalchuk, and President of National Olympic Committee, Lukashenko, with great wishes for the entire agenda of this Congress to be very efficient for the development of sport of our respective countries. On my behalf, I am here to highlight the following issues, showing how important it is to convene such events amid this high political and geopolitical pressure, and having this conference offline in a friendly format with friendly countries to discuss the issues which are outside politics and will not be heavily politically charged. This is very important. The principles of the Olympic Charter, the World Anti-Doping Code, whereby they maintain that health and rules of competition outside political pressure for athletes now are being heavily tested, mindful of the current geopolitical situation. We would like to convey to the entire mankind the fact that sport is outside politics. Sport is under great pressure nowadays, but when we get united at such events, it's important for us to discuss those social issues and implications which should be raised by anti-doping organizations, research sports organizations, to tackle upon them. Nowadays, some of the organizations which are around and are supposed to be outside politics are heavily politically charged nowadays, which has got a very adverse impact upon the current situation. But it's way simpler that way because now at least we know who are our friends and partners and who we should not cooperate with, because what they say is lip deep, because they were supposed to be friends, but they turned out to be foes nowadays. I think we should have many more such events, academic conventions of different formats, scientific sports conventions, different scientific conferences. Collaboration is the key word. Collaboration is bottom line for our developments. I might refer to a very positive example of our cooperation at the level of our ministers and Olympic committees between Russia and Belarus. Very genuine and partnership relations are there between our countries, between our agencies. We should extend this partnership to outreach the organizations and countries who support fair game, fair play principles. That way, we'll pull out of the current dire straits situation when not everyone is allowed to participate, because all those things are heavily politically charged, which is wrong. In conclusion, I am here to announce that in August this year in Minsk there will be second sports games of CIS, which will be quite open. I invite all of you to participate as guests or participants. If you are able to send up teams there, and you must be rest assured that this sports event will be held without any political implications, somewhat charging, just impacting sports. It will be none of that. Thank you. The floor goes to Mahanchom Abitabayev, rector of Uzbek State University of Physical Culture and Sports, Doctor of Economics of Sports Sciences, Professor, Tashkent region, the town of Churchik. Dear friends, colleagues, on behalf of Uzbek State University of Culture and Sport and on my behalf, I am glad to welcome the participants and organizers of the International Scientific Convention, Sportsman Health. Today, top-notch specialists have convened here in order to share their knowledge, skills, and groundbreaking experience in sports movements, to share ideas about current state of affairs, about the challenges of contemporary sports, to describe the current trends and situation. And sports is in the focus of attention nowadays, and we should scrutinize all the aspects of psychological implications, which are very important for high achievement sports, for medical preparation of athletes, gender problems, sports jurisprudence, and other approaches. Throughout the years in sports, a centralized system of management and governance was created globally. A uniform international calendar of events, global system of broadcasting. But As a recent event show, it all can end up being totally inaccessible overnight, like it happened amid the pandemic. So we should try to figure out potential risks and to come up with new alternatives to combat the challenges and threats. It's crystal clear that the international convention is, as always, held on the grounds of Lesgaft Physical Culture and Sports University. It's only proper because it's one of the leading centers of sports science and practice, resting on strong traditions of continuity of different generations. Using this opportunity, I would like to think back to the names of extraordinary personalities whose names are lingering on in the memory of the university, such as Vladimir Agait's outstanding academic, mentoring several generations of mentors, a wise man, knowledgeable professional, Vladimir Karamazov, a talented scientist, a wonderful leader who set the example for all of us, and a very busy agenda of this convention will be in high demand in practice when it comes to high achievement sports, and also taking good care of health of the athletes, high life quality and longevity of people. We are positive that such encounters, professional encounters, will come in very handy for the professional development and will extend our circle of association when we network informally as well. I hope that we'll share groundbreaking ideas and make a great contribution into strengthening of international cooperation when it comes to sports science. And the results of this convention may be very important for the sports events even. I invite you all to visit our country, Uzbekistan, which is very hospitable and full of sunshine. My dear friends, come along anytime. I wish you well. Thank you. Thank you, Mahajan. Among the guests of our convention, we have the presence of Minister of Physical Culture and Sports of Primorsky region, Jan Kuznetsov. Let's put our hands together for the minister. Distinguished colleagues from the Legislative Assembly of St. Petersburg, a welcoming address came over for Mr. Stukov for high professionalism, for a great contribution into development, physical culture and sports, supporting collaboration with international organizations and institutions engaged in science, sports, medicine, and for the proactive participation in the preparation of international convention, sport, health man. As a chair, I'm privileged to hand over the certificate of honor to Professor Shostakov. Ladies and gentlemen, for our convention, several welcoming telegrams were sent over. Before reading them, I'm here to state the following. Russia is a great power, and it's very hospitable, and even when some are criticizing us, I think we should go on and be kind to all the people. So the welcoming address on behalf of Thomas Bach, the President of International Olympic Committee, Head of Sports Division of Council of Europe, Madam Kwasi, the President of Olympic Committee of Laos, Madam Katerina Sevupa, President of Anti-Doping Commission of Cyprus, Michael Petrov, President of International Judo Federation, Maros Veza, Secretary General of Sri Lanka International Olympic Committee, Meksinki, are going to collaborate with Acil Bozo, President of Sports, and the President of Turkish Olympic Committee, and Secretary on the Affairs of Young People, Belgrade, Nikola Pinic, President of the Organization of Global Taekwondo, Chu Chun Wang, Secretary General of Syrian International Olympic Committee, Cyrus Ferreira, Rectorate of Baghdad University, the authorities of International Syrian University, Dr. Sabkan Kadan, President of Federation of Basketball of Lebanon, Akram Halabin, Chair of the Department of Physical Development of Central University of UAE's Georgios Nassis, Head of the Department of Training of Taekwondo of Yale University, Korea, Kim Yong Kim, are welcoming us. Thank you to all those wonderful people for good wishes for our International Congress. Dear colleagues, in line with our agenda, we're going to listen to a number of presentations. I would like to say several words about the time span for each speaker. 15 minutes for a presentation per speaker. All the questions for the speakers could be submitted in written form to the members of the podium. By the end of the session, the speakers will respond to the questions. First will be Sergei Petrov, Russia, Rector of National State University of Physical Culture, Sports and Health, named after Lesgomft in St. Petersburg, PhD in psychology, Associate Professor, Strategy and Integration of Different Activities in Educational Organizations of Physical Exercise. Once again, I'm here to welcome you. I'm going to talk upon a very important issue, topical for athletes and very topical amid the current situation, related to the fact that, as a rule, and now athletes have to think not just about their professional careers as specialists, high qualifications. Athletes have been gearing towards reaching high achievements in line with the tasks set for their coach, for their association. So oftentimes they lack time to be educated along those lines. So Lesgomft University has been working along those lines. It's related to the technology of mixed career or dual career of an athlete, which can be exercised with different success within educational institutions, sports institutions, and the sphere of physical culture in Russian Federation. Contemporary situation in Russian higher education and the conditions of contemporary sports makes it necessary to reconsider the system of training students for sports institutions of higher learning. One of the directions of the innovative development of institutions and universities of sports is about integration of education, science, and sports, and transition of educational institutions onto a new level as scientific sports educational center dealing with governmental tasks and social economic development tasks to develop the regions they are in. Within the experimental activities of Lesgomft University since 2020, we have been developing scientific research topic of integration of educational, scientific, and sports activities and higher education in the sphere of physical culture and sports. This work is based on the fact that we have got the president's charge on the implementation of sports training and preparation in educational institutions of higher learning. And now we have been streamlining the models and methods which could be in line with this presidential charge and assignment. We identified the major conditions for success in sports activities at the university as the new type of activity based on the bylaws and charters of the university. It's the makeup of the students, HR of the institution, and scientific, technical aids, finance, interactions with different sports organizations, and availability of specialized organizational structures.
It becomes clear that in the field of physical culture and sports in the Russian Federation, there are integration processes which are based on the mutually connected norms, legal norms, and this creates the legal basis for the implementation of the innovative activity. And at the level of different educational organizations, in 2019, there were adopted different charter alterations, and so sports was introduced as a field of activity, and thus it became possible to organize this work at the level of different educational institutions. But after the law on harmonization education was enacted, these approaches were revised, and it is possible nowadays to have extra optional sports programs at different universities. As one of the key conditions of the success of the integration processes, we can mention the potential interesting group of students. The physical training schools carry out the major programs necessary for the coaches in 75 sports. Analysis of this particular group shows that about 80% of them are athletes and students with different qualifications in sports. And the next condition of success is the necessary personnel, which is a resource for high-quality implementation of different optional sports programs in different sports. The monitoring of the personnel is very important, so it shows that we need at least one specialist for a particular sport. And what are the limitations here? Most of the professors, most of the members of the faculty do not have this particular qualification category, the coach category. The analysis of the methodological approaches shows that very often we do not have sufficient support in this particular field, and the most popular sports here are games, swimming, calisthenics, gymnastics, and track and field. Analysis of the dynamics of the number of dissertations on this particular specialty, 13.0, shows that most of these dissertations were defended at the specific universities up to the time when the qualification norms were changed. So the monitoring of the material and technical conditions necessary for sports training shows that these universities have better facilities, better sports halls, and better equipment in general. And this goes in comparison to other schools. And a very important aspect here is the presence of active cooperation with regional sports organizations, which properly forward students towards further development. And then they're able to come back to universities to organize this work at the universities. Within the framework of the special programs, the Ministry of Sports in Russia suggests three approaches: the sports clubs, the sports and pedagogical chairs at the universities are independent structures. So the centers for the training of student teams, sports teams. Each of these structures has its own advantages and certain limitations, which in their turn depend on the organization of the work on this particular sports at a university. It also greatly depends on the tradition and on the material support. The Lesgaft University supports the approach of the experimental model center at the Faculty for Sports Technologies, individual and collective. And within the framework of that faculty, you will find different models brought together with a centralized monitoring, centralized organization of the work of the staff. This makes it possible to react properly to different issues that arise in the process of work. Moreover, we involve the pedagogical chairs and the different other chairs into this work, as well as the researchers, in order to provide for the proper support of the process. Thus, at the university, we have actually completed the work on the mixed career training for the athletes of high qualifications. Now, what are the indicators of the success of work at the universities? That the success of the students at different international and Russian student competitions. And the model of our university demonstrates successful results. And this is reflected in the results of the teams at the university games in 2022, in winter and in summer. The main indicator of the success of the educational work, first of all, is the achievement of the target numbers and from among the students athletes who take part in different competitions. It is necessary to improve the quality of the future specialists. That's in the focus of our attention. But at the same time, we need to remember that there are certain changes happening in the system of education, in the system of education in general. So that means that the curricula should be changed for future coaches as well. As for the professional support and for the professional education, we understand that the targets are very important, because these define how many organizations, sports organizations in the region are involved in this work, which is very important for the success of different programs, but also for the successful employment of the graduates. And this is also proved by the rating of different headhunting companies. The Lesgaft graduates are among the leaders if we take the demand for specialists graduating from different sports universities in Russia. Another indicator of the success of the project is the recognition in compliance with the order of the Ministry of Sports, the role of the Lesgaft University as an experimental venue for the training of students and for the training of coaches of the higher professional level in biathlon and gymnastics. Although the project was started in February this year, we already have very good results in the gymnastics. So the team performs very successfully at different competitions. They already have a lot of awards, and this reflects the wonderful opportunities provided by the project. And all this, as you know, is happening within the process of getting education. So the analysis of the results of educational and sports activities and research work shows that it is very important to have integrated progress, comprehensive processes. In this case, it is possible to provide for the mixed career of the students. It opens up for them an opportunity to act as athletes and as coaches, and provides them with an opportunity to get proper training in order to get instructors, athletes, and researchers. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Спасибо, Сергей Иванович. Напоминаю,
Now, if you have questions, you're welcome to do that, but through the Presidium. Allow me to give the floor to Patrick Reed from the Novi Sad University in Serbia, the Faculty of Sports and Physical Education, Professor of Martial Arts, major principles of the effective work of the coach. Good afternoon. Best wishes from Novi Sad, from Serbia. Serbia is the only free country in that region. My presentation today is going to be dedicated to the major principles of the effective work of coaches. And let me talk about the role of the coach and the goals that are set by the coaches. It's very important for the successful work of the coach. Sports plays a very significant role in the political, economic trends, and it's very important to make sure that the work is based on the specific set of requirements. Now, the support for the athletes in clubs has been increasing over several decades, and nowadays very often it includes a whole team that is responsible for the athletes. Apart from the coach, there is a lot of people. A coach for physical training, there is a psychologist, there is a medical doctor, and so on and so forth. And the framework of the responsibilities depend on the particular club. A lot also depends on the competitions and on the principles of the organization of the club. For the successful work in the field of sports, the coaches should have a wide range of knowledges and skills. The evolution of the past 10 years shows that the profile of the coach approaches the hypothetical model of a practitioner who actually has a lot of characteristics of a researcher, and the practical training as well. Now, the coach, to be effective, needs to be able to apply knowledge in order to ensure good achievements in sports. But all these achievements are defined by the competence, by the fact that the coach is sure of himself, the connection with the environment and nature. And then there are three categories of knowledge. Professional knowledge, of course, that means that there are the expert knowledge. The coach should make sure that there is knowledge of a particular sports mechanics, the principles, the programs for training should be properly built, the incentives should be all included, the monitoring should be organized. There are interpersonality, the ability to interact with other participants of the process. In order to achieve success, the coach should be able to interact with different participants of the process within the club. And personal. That means the coach must be able to analyze his or her own work on the basis of the results of the past, the plans for the future. And a lot of research has established that this particular type of knowledge is extremely important. It's the ability that makes it possible for the experience to acquire the value of knowledge. Now, in order to ensure that the coach is able to maximize the achievements of the athletes, he must have a very high level of professional knowledge, must be able to be effective at the level of communication with the others, and must be able to analyze his or her own abilities and achievements. Then there is another very important concept, achievements of the athletes, defined by 4 factors: the self-assurance, nature, communication, and competences. It's all very important. It's very important to be able to understand what is needed and what the achievements are. So practical and theoretical skills must be all interconnected within the team. Now, the coach acts as a researcher. That actually means that the coach should be aware of different fields of science. The coach should be familiar with biomechanics, physiology, psychology, and diet. These are all elements of very successful work. Now, the programming of the incentives depends directly on the knowledge on cinematics of movement, on psychology, and on adjustment, and on diet. It is very important to know what the athlete is eating and drinking in the process, in the course of competition, prior and after. The evolution of the coach leads to the following. Quite often it is assumed that apart from the major goals, the coach needs to analyze movement, needs to carry out research using laboratory equipment, and control the physiological parameters of the load. Before the coach begins to work with the athlete, the coach should learn how to analyze different factors, learn how to analyze, how to plan, how to carry out practical work, and how to organize monitoring. Now, when we take analysis, the secondary analysis, it's very important to remember the history and the purposes of this athlete. They can be long-term, short-term, it must be also the history of injuries, of the adjustment, the requirements to a particular sports. We must be very well familiar with the frequency of competitions and with the requirements and so on and so forth. We must exactly know how much the athlete will have to travel, the mechanisms of injuries, and what needs to be done in this or that particular case. When I mentioned the testing of the movement, and then it is necessary to understand what kind of dysfunctions and asymmetrics that might occur in the process. And then, of course, it is necessary to test the level of education and training, including different elements, the interpretation of results, diet, and many other aspects. When we talk about coaches, then let's not forget planning. No, it is necessary to be familiar with periodization. It is necessary to be familiar with everything that happens with the mesocycles, how to apply the load, how to relieve the athlete of the load. Though it is necessary to be familiar with the methods of training, adaptation, the selection of different exercises, rehabilitation, dosage, so to speak. And when we take rehabilitation and pre-rehabilitation, again, we need to be familiar with the methods of work, with the terms, with the prevention of injuries. Then, allow me to mention monitoring, which is very important, monitoring of the load. There are internal and external methods, different markers. All this needs to be something that the coach is very well familiar with. And then rebuilding of the physical strength and physical status. And finally, considering the depth of the knowledge and of the skills, we can assume that coaches want to become comprehensive specialists, and rather than being professionals in one particular field. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Patrick, for a wonderful presentation and fabulous Russian. Floor goes to Ludmila Marishuk from Belarus Republic, Russian State Social University, the branch in Minsk town, professor of psychology and conflictology chair, doctor of psychology professor, about the role of the strong will in the readiness and physical preparedness. Dear colleagues, first of all, I would like to thank the organizers. I'm privileged to speak at the plenary. I'm very glad that I can speak on behalf of the Belarusian State Physical University and Russian University, and on behalf of other universities I cooperate with. As to the sports perseverance and preparedness state, I may say that all of us, even those who speak from this podium, you can see that first I'm trying to grab the edge of the lectern, and then I relax and I speak freely. I was not prepared because I thought that there will be one more presentation before me, but I am prepared nonetheless. I relaxed and can speak now. Professor Laxkov was saying that the will is very important for us. The athlete's will sometimes acts contrary to the sense of self-protection. Oftentimes we overlook those things. There are lots of different cognitive processes, and we should know how to manage and govern emotions and different conditions and activities. The will means the power of soul of the body, but such a strong power is typical for very strong will characterized by well-developed will skills. The will is always about the inducing and retarding functions. The retarding, dampening function of the will sometimes even more important than inciting one, which qualities and skills are needed by athletes and all the other peoples. The willingness to reach the goal, you set, the ability to set the priorities. That's the inciting part. And whenever it's necessary, you may discard some of the secondary tasks for the sake of the main goal. Initiative is perceived as the independent way to organize your activity for the achievements. That's inciting part, not to fall under the influence of other people. Perseverance is the will to reach the result after you make a decision, to reach the goal notwithstanding all the difficulties and hurdles, inciting feature. The way you can withstand fatigue and discouragement, that's retarding function. The ability to make well-grounded decisions, to take up the responsibility or to take some risk, inciting. The courage means you can suppress the fears you might have, retarding function. The self-endurance, when you breach yourself and you're never lost in difficult situation, and you brace yourself and you control your behavior. Self-control, retarding function, first of all, dampening function, or you can exercise all the skills and qualities of Gnostic component, thinking first of all, predominance of will over reason has been discussed since the antiquities and in Middle Ages and in the modernity. When we negate when Spinoza was negating God's will, he included the will of human beings into reason, for which he was severely reprimanded by synagogue. As to the predominance of will over reason, or the other way around, is still there. Western world psychologists are saying that will is about motivations, which is wrong because the struggle between different motives is only one part of willed action. But of course, this might be highly judgmental for them. As to different motivations, there could be some attachments and aspirations. So will is participating in formation of different processes and results. And if we are clinging to aspirations and attachments only, it's like a baby or a toddler, because we should sort out different feelings of ours. Will is controlled by reason, but thinking is arbitrary process. So will is part of reason, and reason is part of will. And thinking and reason subordinates to will, or otherwise it could be just imagination. The imagination in the form of daydreaming and visioning, which are non-productive and don't bring about tangible results. As to the most ancient process in the antigenesis of the cycles, it's different feelings and sentiments like pleasure, displeasure, satisfaction, dissatisfaction. Arbitrariness enables us to exercise actions which are not always pleasurable. I can, I must. You should think about it. I want, I must, so I can. That will be a manifestation of will qualities. Emotions are related to typology of human beings. Melancholic people are highly emotional. Phlegmatic people lack emotions. Emotional stability is perceived on the one hand as the result of emotional self-regulation in extreme conditions, and on the other hand as the personality trait. There is no uniform definition of this notion. It incorporates different phenomena. It's a plethora of phenomena such as the psychic stability, emotional stability, stress resistance, frustration tolerance, stability of psychological and psychic states. Psychological stability is perceived by Nikiforov as a complex personality trait uniting the equilibrium between the level of stress and tension without transcending the boundaries of unacceptable. Withstanding the difficulties, stability, the constant mood, and resistivity and resilience. So we should contemplate connections and corresponding of different components, emotional and non-emotional components of stability. Of course, at the end of the day, it depends on the peculiarities of the neural system and also intellect and will, skills and characteristics. emotional determinants of stability, of course, is the will process per se. The will has been supporting the needy level of emotions and the needed emotional state. Plastical components safeguards anticipation of the results of the activity using arbitrariness and emotional processes the human being has been striving to. That's the assessment of the situation and extrapolation of the present towards the future. A human being has been given that. So there is the arbitrariness of thinking processes. We can speak about emotionally will stability because entirely emotional properties, topological personality trait. We are using the term uniting the will and emotions because only will can identify different emotions. And also, this required well-developed personality traits and self-regulation, which is based on thinking and reason. Without will, it's utterly impossible. Emotionally, will stability means that it's possible to get rid of emotions and exercising difficult actions. Emotional will stability is an integral part of personality through will catering for stability of sthenic emotions and optimal emotional excitations under different stresses when the psyche is transfiguring and it's shifting onto different levels of psychics and reconsidering its inciting and dampening functions in order to enhance the efficiency of activity. Emotional will stability depends to a great deal on basic components, that is will and thinking, and socially determined characteristics. Hence, lots of affinity between will and character personality traits. The criteria of emotional will stability is the constant of gnostic and motor functions, efficient exercising of activity on the basis of will control, emotional reactions against the background of emotional impact. This stability identifies the state of readiness and preparedness of rapid decision-making, which would be adequate. The underdevelopment of this displays the inability and not preparedness to act in a crisis situation, and it might entail professional deformations and emotional burnout. How is it possible to withstand this tension? We should master its progression and even its manifestation. This is about emotional will stability. We perceive it as somewhat akin to stress resistance to overcome over emotional excitation when we exercise activities under extreme conditions. Ilya Kisilov perceived the physical preparedness and readiness of athletes for sports events as characterized by the optimal level of emotional tension due to the will, the goals adequate to their the components. So that is a will as well, at least implicitly mentioned. Professor Puni defined this preparedness as very complex psychological and physical status, attracting lots of cognitive and will processes alongside high training, high fitness. It's also about the will. Puni explicitly is referring to the will in the state of athletes' preparedness. Philip Canov has been describing this physical preparedness related to the will element, but unfortunately not all the formulations, the definitions of physical preparedness of athletes are referring to the will. In our interpretation, the physical preparedness and emotional preparedness is articulated as training through the process of sports activities, emotional status of an athlete based on the will process and well-developed gnostic properties for control of dynamics and rational application of the necessary methods in the process of self-regulation. The preparedness is not the personality trait, but well mastering through self-regulation of psychological states. By psychological readiness and preparedness, we refer to the active process of physical processes, mobilization for the psychological functions necessary for exercising this activity under the reduced level of functioning of other not used in these activities, skills which are based on competence evoked as this specific type of activity. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ludmila, for a brilliant presentation.
Потом уточню.
I'll explain why it is. Now the floor goes to Gurnis Singh from Punjab University of Chagastari, Psychological and Molecular Effects of Cyclic Meditation. Floor is yours.
Hello everyone, Professor Gurmeet, Dobre Din, Zdravstvuyte. I have learned, because I have visited 2 times earlier in 2017 and 2019, but due to lockdown, I missed 2021, and due to this, my family problem somewhere here in India, I missed my presentation over there, but online presentation, I'm giving this online presentation. My wife is here with me.
Good afternoon, Dr. Jaswinder here.
Jaswinder Kaur. This presentation, the psychological and molecular effect of cyclic meditation. The cyclic meditation is very, you can say, important. I'll show you with the slideshow. Is my slideshow is going on over here? Okay. So the outline of my presentation is introduction, historical background, step-by-step procedure, the benefit, literature review, and outstanding questions and references. So yoga, as you know that, yoga is an ancient science, and it's originating in India, which has a component of physical activities, instructed relaxation and introspection. Yoga includes diverse postures, practices such as physical postures, we call it asanas in India, and regulating breathing, which is called pranayama, which is very important, and meditation and lecture on philosophical aspects of yoga. So meditation is the 7th of the 8 steps prescribed to reach an ultimate stage of spiritual emancipation. So, which is written in the Patanjali. It is 900 BC before. So, while many practitioners to learn the meditation directly or other find it easier to first pass through the other stages. So, learn yoga, that is postures, that is asanas, and regulating breathing, which is called pranayama. So it is postulated that when a novice attempts to meditate directly, there could be 2 responses based on the quality of mind. We call it a rajasic, that is active personality mind, would be restless all through the sessions. And tamasic, second one is tamasic, a mind with inertia could fall asleep. So this problem of mind is addressed in the Madhyuka Upanishad. It is a written book. Based on this technique, moving meditation, which combines the practice of yoga posture with guided meditation, was evolved, which is called cycling meditation, which is given by the Nagendra, and which has its original in an ancient Indian text, Madhyuka Upanishad. So you can see that yoga, it's a yuche aniya, it's yuge, that which joins is yoga, So it is, you have seen over here. And then yoga is a systematic and a scientific process of unfolding the human potential. It is an expansion of the narrow, constricted, egoistic personality to an pervasive, eternal, and blissful state of reality. So very slowly, from the very narrow angle, you can open towards to the divine state in yoga. You can achieve that state, no problem with that. So the three cardinal principle of yoga is relax the body, you have to slow down the breath, and calm the mind. These things are very important. So cyclic meditation, actually, meditation practice where the simple asanas are interspersed with relaxation techniques. Cycle of asanas and relaxation techniques, 20 to 30 minutes of practice, ideal for the busy professionals. It is developed by the Swami Vivekananda Yoga Anusandhan Samadhan University in Bengaluru. You know that in cyclic meditation, the period of practicing the yoga posture constitute the awakening practice. It is an awakening practice, while the period of supine rest comprises calming practice. So an essential part of the practice of cyclic meditation is being aware of the sensation arising in the body. So this support the idea that the combination of stimulating and calming techniques practiced with the background of relaxation and awareness may reduce psychophysical arousal more than resting in the supine posture of the same duration. So you see that the basis of the cycling meditation is you can stimulate the sleeping mind, calm down the distractions, and recognize the stagnation and reaching the bliss. When you're reaching the bliss, do not disturb over there. Means if the mind has reached the state of perfect equilibrium, do not disturb it again. You are continuing in that state. Then see that in cyclic meditation basis, stimulation and relaxation, it solves the complete problem of the mind. Where anxiety and stress is there, you can stimulate and then a relaxation phase, recognize, then stabilize. So see this in this based on the commentary from the ancient text Mandukya Upanishad. It is 3,000 years back. You can see that stimulation builds attention, and relaxation releases tension. It builds attention, and but the relaxation phase releases the tension. So what is step-by-step cycling meditation? We have conducted one of the PhD study. My wife has done a PhD study on the psychological and molecular effects of asynchronous music and meditation on performance of shooters. So on the base of that, we came to know that cycling meditation step-by-step procedure is very effective in most of the sports. So number one step here, it is the starting prayer. It's a starting prayer. Begin with this cycling meditation. Begin with this prayer. In Sanskrit, we can speak Astoma Sadma Gamaya, Tamsoma Jyotirmaya Gamaya, Amritoma Gamaya. So Om Shanti Shanti. Its meaning is that is, O Lord, lead me from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. This is the prayer we have to start with. And in the second phase, there is an instant relaxation technique. Before starting the cycling meditation, one has to relax a technique called the instant relaxation technique. In this, the practitioner is instructed to lie down on his back in the position of Shavasana. Shavasana is it means dead body. Like a dead body, you can calmly, you can lie down on the floor. And then he is asked to tighten all the muscles one by one from the toes to the top. And after tightening, stretching the whole body, loosening the muscles once at once and relax the body. It takes 1 minute if you start this. Then there is a linear awareness in the step 3. The process begins with the Tadasana. Tadasana means tree. Tad means tree. It's a tree, like tree, which helps in centering the body of the practitioner. And all the postures are performed with a very slow speed, maintaining the internal awareness, observing as a witness various changes in the system of the system with the eye closed. Then the fourth step is standing asanas are there. Now similarly, Adkati Chakrasana. Chakra means it's a circle. It's a half circle. You can bend towards right and left side, slowly on the both right and left side, while maintaining the linear awareness over there very slowly, but you have to perform these movements very slowly. And in the fifth part, you can see that it's a quick relaxation technique. Now the QRT is there, is practiced with the which takes around 5 minutes, in which the practitioner again instructed to lie down in Shavasana and observe the movements of the abdominal muscles. The rectus abdominal, your wall is there. You can just observe the movement. While inhaling, the abdominal wall rises, and with the exhalation, the abdominal wall descends. This process has to be felt. You have to feel this. You have to feel this process, that inhaling and exhaling process. And it is then directed, you can feel the energy with each breath, feel relaxed with each relaxation, and dissolve in deep silence by chanting Om. Om. Om is a sound which is very, very important. Om. It will, when you close your eyes and calmly you are doing this, it will definitely give you relaxation. And the step 6, it's a sitting asana. Now the Vajrasana. Vajra actually, the person who is sitting over here, this is a Vajrasana. It is actually, Vajra means the stone. So then Utkrashtasana. In Utkrashtasana, the person is with Vajrasana is going back. You can see that you can touch your feet and are done very slowly and awareness. You can see these asanas are very important. Vajrasana, Shashkan Asana, and Utkrashtasana. Very slowly you can do these asanas. Then the 7th part is deep relaxation. Now is the last deep relaxation technique is practiced for 10 minutes, in which the practitioner is again asked to lie down in the Shavasana as a dead pose, and the instruction are given to follow part by part. From the toe to top, relax your whole body by moving the consciousness from one part to another. It means it's a just type of autogenic training. You are moving inside your body. You are instructing your body that your feet is going to be relaxed. You are focusing while closing your eyes. You are focusing your body. You are instructing your body that that you are moving from one part to another part. And after that, slowly sit down in a deep silence according to your time. And apart from the muscular stimulation in cycling meditation, sound chanting the Ankara, Om, Ukara, and Makara, and Mukara, and the visual attaining to vast ocean stimulation can be practiced. And the 8th, the last part is the closing prayer. In the end, with the following prayer, you can the Sarva Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Utkush Dukhya Bhagavata. It means that may all sentients being to be at peace, may no one suffers from illness, may all see what is auspicious, and may no one suffer. Om Shanti, Om peace, peace, peace. These are the benefits of cycling meditation. It provides deep relaxation to the mind, and body is a restfulness, alertness, and release accumulated stress from the system, improve creativity and productivity. It reduces hypertension, provides emotional stability, and slow down the aging process. So cycling meditation is a series of physiological adaptations begin and decrease naturally as voluntary muscles are directed into a state of relaxation, which soon leads to positive mood swing and extreme calmness. And this is the ultimate technique to calm the mind and the body. Its regular practice can help reduce occupational and personal stress, which is, I think, it's in present day situation, we have this occupational and personal stress. We can reduce it by doing a regular practice of the cycling meditation. So it improves digestion, it improves your sleep, it improves your breathing, and other important functions of practitioner. So based on the principle of alternating stimulation and muscle relaxation, it is a great stress buster that can be practiced at any time of a day. So now the literature review. This is the first paper that we have published with my wife. The meditative and asynchronous music intervention boost tutors the flow state and related domain. It's a pilot study where we have checked on the shooters. We have worked on the shooters. We have seen that with the help of asynchronous music, but when we are given these two interventions, the meditation, the yoga have a more effect on the shooters. They have the yoga group improves a lot. They are in the pre-testing and after the post-testing, we have seen that the yoga group plays a very important role and they improve their performance. So then another study, which is the immediate effect of cycling meditation on the state mindfulness in the normal healthy volunteer. It is also a study where the meditation plays a very important role in the state mindfulness, and the effect of cycling meditation on the quality of life and perceived stress in female adolescents. Here also the meditation, cycling meditation shows in the pre-post changes are there. And the review of the scientific studies on cycling meditation, you have seen that they suggest that cycling meditation practice reduces autonomic arousals, improve attention, and improve the quality of sleep, which is very important. And effect of you have seen that nowadays the depression and anxieties are there during lockdown. We have all, the whole world have faced this problem. So this study also shows that there is a positive effect on the a person who is depressed and anxieties. These are the references. But I must say one thing, that if you do a lot of pranayama and meditation, you can start with the anulom vilom. You can deep breathe calmly. You can sit under the you can say open space in a ground somewhere else where the shed is there. There is trees are there, or you can sit in a park where the calm situation, calm environment is there. Then you can start with your this pranayama. You can start with anulom vilom. On just you can use these two fingers, the thumb and the your ring finger. You can use this deep breathing from one nostril and exhalation, inhalation from one nostril and exhalation from the other nostril, and then you can exhalation, inhalation from this nostril and exhalation. This is the practice when you have to start slowly. You can see there is a lot of change in your body, and then the next pranayama is there. 1 minute, I can stop here my presentation. I straightway come to you. Now you can see, is I'm audible? Am I audible to everyone? Whether my voice is clear? Voice is clear? So second pranayama is where you can do the sound like this. Like this. Oh. Slowly you can chanting this. If once you practice this, you will be able to calm down your body. Then you can do little bit of sounding like this. Like slowly. Once you learn the process, then next pranayama is you can use this here the sound this. This is a roaring voice. Once you see this voice, which is very helpful also, and in the last you can close your body and you can just see this is Bhamri Pranayam. We call it, it's a vibration in your body. You just put 3 fingers in front of your eyes and the thumb in your ears, and deep breath and sound like this. Once you practice this type of a pranayama, you will see that slowly you are stimulating and calming your body, which is very helpful. The effects, you know that, and the benefits and the possible mechanism underline, that in cycling meditation, which I have already explained, your body is in the calming stage. You will enjoy your life, and the most of the problems during the lockdown. And I have myself come from the deathbed during the lockdown. I suffered this with coronavirus. I was admitted in the hospital for 15 days. I losing lot of weight. My breaths are not okay with it. But I practice regularly this asanas, pranayama, and now I'm totally fit. I'm doing. My body is now. I'm playing tennis, football, everything. I come back from the deathbed, but the yoga saved me. And we have done a lot of asanas and pranayama during this lockdown. And most of the people, they have learned that the yoga plays a very important role during the lockdown. So thank you very much. If you have any questions for me about the cycling meditation or meditation technique, I can explain.
Спасибо.
Thank you, Gurmeet. Thank you. Thank you very much. You went beyond the time limit. No, but your words were most important for all of us. Let there be peace, peace and peace.
Yes, peace and peace. And thank you for this conference, people. I know that I missed my friends over here. Gennady, if sitting, is here. My regards to him and other people. It's you can say the hospitality which I got last 2 times in St. Petersburg is marvelous. So all my best wishes to the conference organizers and everybody over here. So spasiba. Have a nice time. Thank you very much.
Спасибо вам.
Thank you. Allow me to give the floor now to Vladimir Puzovic from Serbia, the College of Sports and Health, Belgrade, the Doctor of Sports Medicine and Applied Neurophysiology. He will speak about the injuries in the lower pain, rehabilitation, and return to competition. Esteemed President of the conference, organizers, colleagues, professors, I'm from Serbia, and I will try to speak Russian. If it doesn't work, then I will refer to English. Right, so I am Vladimir Puzovic, and I work at the College of Sports and Health. Have been working for about 15 years with athletes, their rehabilitation and physical training. The topic of my presentation today is the injury of the lower back and pain, because there is no clear definition of that pain. Most of the definitions just describe the emergence of pain, whether it occurs once or many times, and chronic pain of the lower back. The low back pain manifests in the population of the non-athletes. But when we take athletes, then there is another problem emerging. Very often, this group includes children, includes older people who are going in for sports for health. For them, sports is not the purpose of achieving certain results. As for professional athletes, low back pain emerges quite often. About 50% of athletes go through this problem. At least once in the career. Sometimes they suffer from chronic pain, and 8 out of 10 athletes come across this problem.
Sources of pain.
What are the sources of pain? In most cases, they begin with the disc pain. Sometimes there is hernia, but not always. If there is hernia, then there can be a pressure on the nerves, which can also be the sources of pain, or the sources of pain can be associated with the spine as such, and with the deformation of the spine. Screening, according to many authors, should be carried out by professional medical doctors who understand the problem very well. The coaches and the rehabilitation professionals should be also very well familiar with what kind of tests can be applied and what motions are needed, in order to understand if there are negative effects.
Because if those problems are there, it has got a negative effect.
Immediately advised. Кроме клинического исследования,
Apart from clinical studies and radiological studies, it's highly recommended. MRI is very important. It's the golden standard. And screening and RTG, there are experts who are well involved in that. They would also do the screening and MRI.
to show is there a damage of the disc or not. Если говорим о тритменте спортсменов,
as to the management of athletes and pharmacological treatment, we should figure out which medication should be there, but medical drugs would only conceal the pain, they mask it, they will not remove this problem, which is very hazardous for a sportsman as well. Another step to resolve this problem will be about physical exercise, specialized exercise. When we don't see this herniation, so we do this treatment for an athlete. So that's recommended to conduct this treatment within 6 or 12 weeks. And if there are negative
consultation is immediately advised. Exercise program должен начать сначала.
First, we should start from working up the spine, extension of the spine, but without hyperextension of the spine, which might deteriorate the problem. Young athletes may have got some problems as well, but there could be a very good rehab problem. So young athletes could be fully rehabilitated as well. As to spondylosis, this is rather different system. First, we don't do anything. An athlete should rest first, otherwise there might be spine hyperextension. There is a specially devised rehabilitation program. This is when pain is there, but if pain doesn't stop, doesn't subside for a long time, a professional medical doctor's consultancy is needed. I would like to refer to one case study. We received the patent in April 2022 for that. There is the shoulder injury of an athlete. The athlete was in car accident and he had leg and back fracture. For 2 months he was fully immobilized, but even after that, for 2 whole months, he looked that way. The condition has worsened due to the back fracture and femoral fracture. He rapidly lost weight and he lost body mass in the legs. We started the rehabilitation from lying position because it's most safer position.
Sitting position is not the most recommended one. The
Sitting position.
Pressure in the low back, because of the pressure in the low back, but unfortunately, due to the femur fracture, we couldn't put him standing for a while. Герой сказал, что операция очень хорошо сделана и что ему обеспечен возврат.
So the results were very good. So the athlete would be able to return to professional sports. But some experts disagree because we can see that the spine moved backward.
Я не знаю, если видео работает, это пару дней назад, вот результаты реабилитации.
Here you can see the outcomes of the rehabilitation, which are quite good. And here you can see that the patient recovered body mass and his movements are almost free, but we cannot come to final conclusions whether he can return to professional sports. In conclusion, I'm here to express my heartfelt thanks to my colleagues, neurosurgeons, who are helping me constantly. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Vladimir, for your presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, we will not have one more presentation. We tried to postpone the presentation with Jim Perry, Czech Republic, Great Britain. We thought it would be wonderful to hear him at the plenary presentation, gender and gender classifications in sports. But unfortunately, Jimmy couldn't make it here, so he's not here with us. So all the presentations were planned for the plenary session are over, but as far as I know, Sergey has got a question. He received a question. I'm going to read out the question. Mindful of the mixed career, first is the self-fulfillment by all of the athletes in other activities. Do you plan to also have professional training of athletes and provide them with other careers as well? When we speak about mixed career, we refer to the project which is underway at Glasgow University. It was Group 49, and it's the training of coaches as well. In each and every university, there is a physical culture chair as well, and at least 99% of the students receive high-quality education in sports as well. And I'm absolutely sure that other educational institutions of higher learning, apart from Glasgow University, those which participate in such copyrighted projects have got their own experience along those lines, and the results could be different. But this is very important for us because we have got pedagogical didactics chairs and physical culture chair, where the specialized sports university and students, athletes also have theoretical disciplines, and there is some other discipline also involved. Although this is rather difficult and complex for us to teach for students to learn, because it's a plethora of different skills and learning they need. but we should streamline the interactions of the faculty, that is professors and teachers and lecturers, teaching athletes of different kinds of sports. But we should work more on this system. It's not finished as yet. There is the chair of individual sports technologies, which has been around for more than a decade, and among alumni, they're very good professional athletes now. Of course, this is rather challenging because it's rather a difficult organizational structure when we are providing athlete students with more knowledge in other disciplines. But we know that one of very important disciplines for our Lesgov Sports University is a coach, teacher, so that those lecturers could lecture coaching, which will be very important for different types of athletes, for high achievements athletes as well. When a high-level athlete obtains an occupation which is slightly another alternative to the profession in the sphere of physical culture and sports, it might be rather challenging for an athlete because it's a very wide range of different knowledge, and they should figure out what's most important for them to be trained upon since the very beginning of his athletic career. So we have been experimenting, and we're halfway through with this experiment when our students are obtaining much broader range of knowledge in other disciplines as well. Thank you. Dear colleagues, we have exhausted the agenda of the first plenary session. I would like to thank the speakers for very fascinating presentations. I have got an announcement. Now we'll break for coffee and lunch. It will be between 2 and 3 p.m. and the International Federation of Gorодki Sport of Russian Federation and St. Petersburg invites you to go to the premises whereby you'll be able to see what this type of sport is all about. It's the Russian sport which is called the Gorодki. It has been around for 100 years, so we're inviting you to master class or workshop to Gorодki. The winners will get certificates of honor and different prizes. Thank you so much. Now we break for coffee and lunch.